Alright, I just got my new Mac Studio Max, and today I'm about to compare it with my MacBook Pro Mid-2019. I'm going to test these machines with Final Cut and do some benchmarks also. We're going to see which one is the best. And I'm going to tell you which specs I recommend photographers and filmmakers to do upgrade when you are going to make your buy in Apple website. Speaking about the specs, here are the specs of this machine. With my MacBook Pro, when I just got it, I boosted it the graphic cards to Vega 20 at the moment and 16 gigabytes of RAM plus 512 gigabytes of memory storage. I got it with 512 gigabytes of storage, which nowadays I don't recommend any creators because, you know, our files are so big, so at least get 1 terabyte, don't go less than that. Keep in mind that for this machine you need to have a monitor, a spare monitor or a keyboard and mouse, otherwise you need to buy them and it will end up being more expensive. Not like this one that's all in one package. If you don't already have them available, it will be a downside of getting Mac Studio because you need to add the keyboard, the display from Apple website, or you can buy also a third party. That's a good option. And the specs for my Mac Studio Max is as follow. I got it with 10 core CPU, 24 GPU and 32 gigabytes of RAM. I don't think you should go to 64. Nowadays, I don't know who needs that much amount of RAM. The only thing that I recommend anybody to upgrade here is the storage, internal storage to 1 terabyte. Before I show you some tests, I will tell you the functionality between these two. Obviously, laptops are more portable and versatile. They come with a screen and mouse and keyboard right out of the box, which you don't have here. Here, everything you need to buy them separated. And oh boy, they can be very expensive. I have been using this MacBook Pro as my main computer for the past 3 years. And till this day, I still didn't get used for this loud noise fan. Can you hear it? Most of the time before, I used my MacBook Pro closed screen and docked in my LG screen monitor, which is the reason I prefer just now to get a Mac Studio instead of new M1 MacBooks, because I don't feel the need to take my laptop outside. Most of the time I just do my work from home, so I don't really need a laptop, and I'm pretending to sell this MacBook Pro. And speaking of docking, with MacBook Pro you only get 4 USB-Cs, which you might need to have some dongles around if you need to connect your SD card or simple HDMI. My favorite dongles are this one, Lancian and Hutu. I don't really know how to say this name. These two dongles, they are very important for me because when I have my computer docked at home, I just use this Lancian because it's bigger and have more ports and more options. But when I'm taking my laptop out with me, I just take this Hutu because it's so small and more portable. Disclaimer, I am not sponsored by Hutu or Lancian. I just like the product. I bought the product with my own money. Actually, everything here I bought with my own money. I just like the experience of them. I'm sharing with you guys. And now, comparing it with our new Mac Studio, oh boy, you got all ports that you deserve. This time, Apple give us in total 6 USB-Cs, 1 GB port, 2 USB and 1 HDMI. and one SD card reader that can be very handy, especially if you are a photographer or filmmaker. Now we can say that this is a pro machine because now we have all the ports that we need to just get our job done right out of the box. The other fact is that the MacBook Pro, when you are doing heavy tasks, the sound of noise is super loud. It can get really loud. With the Mac Studio, it runs almost every time on silence. I never heard the sound of these fans here. I can put my hands and feel the airflow, but there's no noise anytime. And finally this time, Apple placed the SD card in front. Without further ado, let's just jump to the test. First, I will open a project in Final Cut Pro, in MacBook Pro and Mac Studio and see how long it will take to launch the application. And after, we will do some editing by applying some effects, transition, also scrubbing in the project. And to finalize our Final Cut test, we will export this 26-minute project video both in Mac Studio and MacBook Pro. On the left side of your screen we have Mac Studio and on right side we have MacBook Pro. I did a launch test for Final Cut Pro with a project on it, and as we can see, Mac Studio took 5.3 seconds to launch and MacBook Pro took 13 seconds, which means that Mac Studio is 60% faster than MacBook Pro. Now let's do some editing on Final Cut Pro. We have this project with 26 minutes. I took it with my Sony 7 III. Most of these files are 1080p and they are recorded in 120 frames. As you can see here, I'm scrubbing and it's very smooth. There's no lagging, there's no droppy frame. The MacBook Pro can handle it with no problem. I'm applying here one effect that is a color grade application, and also I will be applying some LUTs on it. Now I can start to listen the fans of MacBook Pro spinning really fast. Adding more effects. And then the app still is very smooth. I can still scrub very smooth. The application will really start struggling only after applying these noise reduction plugins from Neat Video on Final Cut. As you can see, after applying it, here my fans will start spinning really high and the CPU and GPU is more used. Now I'm trying to play back, but there will be a huge drop framing. It's almost impossible playing this video smoothly. Now here on Mac Studio we are going to perform the same test. Here we are doing some scrubbing. As you can see, it's very smooth. It's the same project of 26 minutes and we will apply the same effects and same adjustments with the LUTs. As we can see, after doing some adjustment on Color Final Pro plugins, we can still play back the video normal. And of course, here also we will apply the Neat Video noise reduction plugins to see how the Final Cut will behave. As we can see, there are some drop frame, not as much in MacBook Pro. All of this editing is happening on better quality view. And I should mention that my Final Cut application version is 10.6.1. Now it's time to do final test for this Final Cut Pro by export this 26 minutes video both in Mac Studio and MacBook Pro. Mac Studio, the export time took 13 and 27 seconds to finish, and on the right side MacBook Pro took 23 minutes and 3 seconds to finish. What means that Mac Studio is 42% faster than MacBook Pro. Now it's time to perform some disk speed tests. We are going to use Blackmagic application to do some read and write tests. Also we are going to copy some large files to see which machine will copy it faster. Following by, we are going to do some benchmark tests with some application like Cinebench and Geekbench. Now here with Blackmagic Disk Test, we can see most of the time we are getting about 49,000 megabytes per second write and 51,000 read on Mac Studio. For MacBook Pro we were getting about 19,000 write and 23,000 reading. And here is the result graphics for this test. Here on this test is where the things start to become more blurred. By copying these large 15GB files from SD card to both machines is where we can see there's not much difference of time they copy from SD card to the computer. Mac Studio took 2 minutes and 48 seconds, MacBook Pro took 2 minutes and 49 seconds, only 1 second's difference. Let's copy this 94GB file from an external fast SSD drive and see which machine will finish faster. And this time it took Mac Studio only 40 seconds to copy the whole file, while it took MacBook Pro 2 minutes and 6 seconds, which is a huge difference. Last but not least, I did some tests with Cinebench application and Geekbench. Here are the results I got. On Cinebench test, there is a huge leap with Apple processors. The Cinebench multi-core shows that Apple processor M1 on Mac Studio is 2 times faster than Intel i9 on MacBook Pro. On Geekbench multi-core performance, we once again get a big leap. The Mac Studio is about 2 times faster than Intel i9 MacBook Pro. And guys, let me show you how loud the MacBook Pro fan spins compare with Mac Studio while they both work performing this testing. At the end, you cannot go wrong with both of these machines. In 2022, if you want to get a new MacBook Pro, just go for M1. You can get M1 Pro or M1 Max MacBook Pro. Don't go to Intel because now Intel is really outdated. But if you already have an Intel MacBook Pro that's very powerful like this, also don't feel the need that to just go and buy the new MacBook, because every year MacBooks are coming and every year new computer is coming, so you should not be trying to follow this FOMO lifestyle. With all that said, it's time to wrap it up here. Guys, this video took me a lot of time, so I wish you like, comment, subscribe for more type of content like this. Stay awesome. Peace.